Hello again, welcome. So, today I've been feeling an energy, already reflecting a bit on competitive energy, these environments, what it creates. Feel like reflecting on this a bit, see what it reveals or what we can learn from this. So, seeing our society today, I would say uh, competitive energy is often a very big driver in what drives our society or also the individuals within. And that made me think, what is this competitive energy actually even coming from? Why do we feel like we need to compete? It's also interesting to see how it is actually a fight, or certainly has that kind of energy to it, where we are fighting. What comes to mind is like a spot, position. Why do we fight for this? And like the fruits that come with that position, whether it is attention, maybe the salary of the job, things like that. But so seeing within that the need, that actually seeing the need within ourselves, some kind of need, it is coming from not being whole ourselves. And I'm connecting this with a state of being where we are actually whole, where we are actually truly being us, living from our own essence. That made me think about, or putting it in a way of, it's also how I feel, like being truly myself. There is no one really to compete with me, even though people may try for some reason, but there is only one unique self. Me is what I mean. There is only one truly unique me, and me being that me, who do I have to compete with for that kind of position? It is only, well, I want to say myself, but that is not a competition. I feel like this connects with some vision of, maybe call it like a divine blueprint, where each participant lives from their essence, their truest self. It's interesting to well, or ask the question, what does it actually mean to look at ourselves from God's or the divine's eyes or perspective? Connecting it with the question of like, why am I actually here? Why am I created in the unique way that I am actually created? What is that purpose within the whole, that this unique setup that I am can actually truly express itself? But so then, imagining a society, a world on all sorts of different levels, local, even just yourself, but local up to the way of the whole world and maybe beyond. But when we imagine the potential of a society that is organized in such a way where we are actually all living that divine essence, we are taking in those kind of positions, all living from our true self, feel like there is no need to compete. That brings me to, or feeling the energy of letting each other also be their true essence. Feels that is a interesting part of this kind of competitive energy, to feels connected with jealousy as well, but to well, what maybe helps is to look at all of ourselves and others actually from the eyes of the whole divine or God, and from there try to ask these questions of who do we actually want in this certain position, in this certain role, in such a way that it would actually serve the whole the best, which is different than um, a much more individualistic society where everyone is just competing for a certain position or role, and much more moving or navigating from trying to fulfill something within themselves. It's a very different dynamic from when we already feel full and then ask this question of how can we actually truly serve the whole of society. Feels less egoic, but also makes me think about value. It shifts our perspective in value or contribution. What do we actually value? But connecting that much more with what does the unity, our whole system, actually value? Well, when I say that, it actually makes me think currently our situation seems to often be those very individualistic values, actually, attention, or feel like we can shift those values much more. Well, I want to add like these individualistic values, they're often linked with our own needs as an individual, which can be even also bodily. They're often very short term thinking, trying to fulfill those needs. But if we are actually able to look beyond all of this, feel beyond all of this, what would actually truly benefit the whole of us, and try to create such an environment? Thinking about also when we have competitive environments, people are actually spending a whole lot of energy fighting for their own position, creating narratives or trying to convince others of who they actually are, why they actually are of value. That is a very different energy from setup where people are already whole, the participants are whole, living in their own essence, knowing their own value. Thus, it's freeing up that energy from needing to prove, needing to fight, needing other people to see you in such a way or appreciate you, which allows us to actually put that energy into our creation and actually create much more value from that. seeing this on an individual level, it increases the efficiency of your creation or your true valuable contribution to the whole. But when we then try to apply this and imagine a whole society that is built in that way, it can be right now maybe even a bit difficult to imagine this, because I feel it would run much more smoothly, much more efficiently. It would open up to a whole lot more potential. Feel like we can achieve a whole lot of different things as a whole in that way, which is much more oriented towards helping the whole. It also makes me think about this sort of a realization which can help us shift ourselves to that. Maybe asking the question, what is truly best for me, on a very egoic type of consciousness. I feel that would often be translated in, well, fulfilling these kinds of needs and things like that. But when we are able to look beyond that, I think we can more come into a realization where the best thing for me and the best thing for the other are actually intertwined. Pointing at when we actually, both of us, invest in creating the best environment for all of us, that would actually be the best possible outcome for all of us, especially on the long run. Because, well, also getting there sometimes is a process of sacrificing our own short-term needs so that we can create a healthier environment on the long run. It also made me think about how these kind of competitive energies, they often actually put us in that consciousness which actually only makes us think about the short term, makes us make those decisions which serve us in the short term, which I think is a big issue, or not necessarily a problem, but I see it as a dynamic within how our society runs nowadays. And asking the question, why are we not being able to make these kind of long-term decisions that would actually benefit us in the long term? Feel it comes down to our own individual, connecting it with self-love as well. The decisions we make for ourselves, are they serving us now, serving our immediate needs, or are we actually making the best decisions for ourselves that will serve us in the long term? Connecting it with a system or system thinkings, how feels also this kind of short-term thinking or actions, they often feel a lot more forcing, whereas the longer-term decisions feel more letting well, I want to say passive, and like you're much more working with the environment itself and actually letting it stabilize itself as well. But more makes me think about this, how we as well as a system, for example, it is the combination of all these small inputs we put into it. And our short-term thinking can think, oh, we have to now make this decision or action, but what truly actually creates our being is the culmination of all these small different choices. And so to make better choices on all these individual aspects of ourselves, feel like I'm gonna leave it there for this video. So have a good one.